Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a story about a crazy girlfriend. Imagine marrying her. OP, you dodged a bullet and learned a very valuable lesson. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. I broke up with you. Why aren't you still paying my bills? This happened several years ago as I was young. I now know how idiotic it was to allow myself into this situation. Background. Dated this woman for about 10 months. Enjoyed each other's birthdays and couple holidays. I added her to my phone plan and gifted her a pretty nice smartphone for Christmas, and she got me the latest GoPro at the time. I was also gifted random household items, kitchen knives, pots, pans, etc. from family, as I was still living in my first place solo. On our 9th month into the relationship, we decided to rent a house together that I have to pay double security deposit on because her credit is crap, and a month into it, she calls it off. Cool. Would have been nice to know about this before signing a lease together, but whatever. I've had my heart broken before. It's spring and dead things are now coming back to life, so I see a better path in front of me. With a replacement tenant that she okayed and approval from the rental company, I was able to be released from the lease, but not before having her and the new tenant sign promissory notes to pay me back for the double security deposit. Some moments. Within the first week living in my new place, she starts messaging me asking where the knives are. Me. The knives my grandma got me? On my kitchen counter? GF. It would have been nice to talk about those. Me. Talk about them? There was nothing to talk about. They're my knives. GF. I know your grandma gave them to you, but I would have liked to have talked about it. Me. Get your own knives. Bye. Next month, I get my cell phone bill, and it's 3 times its normal cost. Looking up the data usage, I see she's busted our shared limit multiple times. We agreed to go 50-50 on it until the contract was over. I message her a picture of the bill, and I will need X amount, no reply. I attempt to contact her multiple times on this and am ignored. Luckily, I saw I was due for an upgrade, and this sparked an idea. If I'm not going to get paid for this second line, I'm sure as crap going to be the one using it, so I went to the store, upgraded my phone, and put her number data plan on my old device. It did not take long before my new phone started receiving texts from an unknown number. GF. Did you shut off my phone? Me. There was no longer service to that phone, yes. GF. I knew you'd do something like this. That's why, insert her new BF name here, got me this one. Me. So you had a second phone this entire time and expected me to foot the bill? No. GF. You got it for me as a gift. You can't take gifts away. Me. And I'm not asking for the phone back. I sent you a text with the last bill. GF. Well, I can't afford that right now. Me. Luckily you have another phone. Thumbs up emoji. GF. Well then, I want the GoPro back. Me. You can't take gifts away, remember? Her and the new tenant both broke the dates agreed upon in the promissory notes. Police served her papers. They were never able to find the new tenant, and the courts ordered her to pay the full amount plus 2% for every year she fails to reimburse me. I lost all contact with them and heard they ended up in 2 different states, breaking the lease on the house. Never received a cent. I was pretty young at the time, and all the red flag moments I should have caught on to flew past. My life's much better now, and honestly, all that money paid for a pretty good life lesson. To top this story off on a happy note, GF's mother ended up calling me a few months later, told me about how she told her daughter what a mistake she made and how much her and her husband enjoyed meeting me. And our second story. I have what will become your food, but you don't want it. About 2 months ago, I got a job as a commercial driver delivering various kinds and forms of meat to restaurants and shops. Roughly 80% of it is chicken and goes to KFCs and Swiss chalets and comes in 50-pound boxes, 22 kilograms for the civilized of us out there, that I move from my truck into the coolers of whichever place I'm at the time using a dolly and sweat. At the time this story takes place, I'm in the back of my truck removing boxes from the pallet that they're loaded onto the truck as into a neat stack for transport into the store. A KFC as it happens, when the epitome of a Karen pops her head into view. She even had the haircut, and begins yelling about something. Given that my reefer was running, a refrigerator built into the truck to keep the box of the truck at an appropriate temperature, -2 degrees Celsius in this case, I couldn't understand what she was yelling about. It's pretty loud when it's running. Given that I was on the job at the time, I didn't go with my initial impulse to tell her to F off and instead walked to where I could hear what she was saying and asked, "Is there something I can help you with, ma'am?" Well, instead of her acting like a reasonable person and responding with something resembling English, she begins screeching. From what I could pick out, it was mostly nonsense and screeching with the occasional understandable phrase. She's upset about having to wait so long for her food and how there's no one at the counter, and so decided to do the only obvious thing and come bother the guy in the back of a commercial vehicle throwing around boxes and not dressed in anything resembling a KFC uniform. Deciding that I had enough of this nonsense, I hopped down from the back of my truck and got the manager of the store telling her that there's a customer harassing me and would she please do something about it. Being a reasonable sort, and also because she wanted me to complete my delivery and give her the chicken that her store was almost completely out of, she engaged the Karen and I went back to my truck. I don't know what went down after that. I was in the back of my truck and haven't been back there, so haven't been able to ask, but the police got involved. Karen got arrested, and I got a free meal out of the bargain. The manager gave it to me. All in all, a decent day. What an entitled butt to think the delivery guy should get her some food. And our last story. Well, this went down. This story happened around a week ago, and we had a chill business meeting at a local restaurant. I hate really tied-up meetings, so I prefer it over a nice, enjoyable lunch with my coworker and one of my trainees. It was supposed to be a nice chat with an applicant, no private info shared or anything like that. Just get to know each other. A little back info. I work for a small, local game developer, and I've been on the lookout for a front-of-the-desk person to help me out with some stuff. I work as a senior PR manager. I'm 28 years old, while my coworker, 58 years old, is my so-called junior PR manager. We switched positions because he's a somehow stone-cold numbers maniac, while I'm more into marketing strategies and into gaming as well. So I have more to offer while he's my strong experience backup. We laugh about it and basically get paid the same amount, but in serious situations, I give the calls. Back to the story. I already spent a few interviews with some candidates and thought this one's going to be easy as well, since no one poked my interest. My coworker and trainee already arrived and sat in the back of the restaurant while I still had time to grab a smoke outside. Since it was still a business meeting, I was wearing my black jeans and white shirt while the staff of the restaurant was wearing black jeans and green polo shirts with the restaurant's logo on it. So the idea of getting mistaken for staff never hit my mind. After I finished my smoke, an elderly couple came by, and since I was raised to be a good person, I hold the door open for them. A nice little thanks and a little chat about the weather, some little chit-chat that took like 20 seconds. But then it hit me. The popularity of Karens in Germany weren't that high, so it was only an internet myth to laugh about for me. But finally, in 2022, I encountered my first wild Karen. Karen, "Hey boy, hold the door." Me, "Wait, what?" Karen, "I said hold the damn door. Can't you hear? I have an important meeting here." It took me a few seconds to realize what's happening. I think it's like in the military or police training. The internet prepared me for it, but when it hits you, you aren't prepared enough. Karen throws me her jacket and stomps through the half-open door. "Can't you do anything right?" Me, "Did you hit your head somewhere or just effed up?" I was raised to be a good boy, but somehow after leaving my parents' house, I kinda shortened my fuse, even if I would have worked there. The shock on her face was perfect, like listening to a song that just hits right. Karen, "How dare you? Let's see what your boss thinks about this." She huffs into the restaurant and rushes to the counter where she grabbed the waitress waiting at the bar. Karen, "You need to educate your staff. This kid," thanks to my Asian genes, I may not look that old, but I still have a fine trimmed beard, just dropped my jacket. "What kind of service is this? Get his act together and bring me a coffee." The waitress was stunned, and I couldn't blame her. In our area, this was a rare right. I gestured here to be calm behind Karen's back and smiled at her so she can relax a little bit. Karen stormed off into the back for her relaxed interview while I tried to comfort the waitress. After a few moments, she got herself back together and looked at me while I told her to hand me her coffee and explained to her that she's with me. When the coffee was done, I grabbed the saucer and coffee, put on my friendliest smile, and went back to my meeting. When my coworkers saw me, they greeted me back while Karen fixated me with her best death stare she could put on while trying her best to make a good impression on my coworkers since she's the one being interviewed. Her face went from almost red to a pale white when I sat down in front of her, keeping her so-called ordered coffee for myself. I almost couldn't hold my laugh when she realized who I was and she just crashed her interview down the pipe. She left as fast as she could. Me and my coworkers had a laugh when I told them what happened. We had a nice chat, and since this meeting on the clock, we took our time and I paid for the lunch out of my own pocket. It was totally worth it. This is probably the third of this type of story I've read here, and it's one of my favorite types. Realizing the person they talk down to is their potential future boss really puts these people in their place. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.